Hey y'all, it's Chloe in my jams, winding up the day, but I've got to get this done. I've tried it a handful of times now to try to do this video. I'm just finding it so complex. So this is supposed to be part 2 and hopefully the final of, I don't know if it will be the final, but let me just get what I have to say out there. Be happy with it. I keep saying things backwards or ruining my flow of thought or something. I don't know. And basically, okay, this is supposed to be part 2 of body image and oracles. And I've had this week to, watch that Embrace documentary one more time. It really touches me, and I found out that she wrote a book before she did the documentary. There's this whole I've got to see some reviews of both the documentary and the book since I initially did that first vlog about this, and I've been going over. One of the people who spoke in that documentary was Linda Bacon. She wrote this book, Health at Every Size. It's to share a program she built based off the movement Health at Any Size or Every Size. It was a social nonprofit movement to try to help get respect and representation within different levels, politically, culturally, every day, within the medical fields as well. Respect for people to get the treatment they need without being disrespected at the same time. And that's probably not the best way to say it, but that's basically what it seems like to me. And I've got to say, I've had times when I've gone to the medical establishment or doctors, let's put it simply to doctors, where I've had an injury or an illness and then I've gotten a side lecture on my weight when that wasn't the most pressing thing at the time and I was too injured or ill or whatever, sick, to deal with that in the moment, and yet they wanted to take the time to try to lecture me on my weight when I was really there for a totally different reason. That could not, I couldn't deal anything about my weight in the middle of having a torn ligament in my ankle, or being so sick with, say, an intestinal tract and digestion issues in my stomach where I couldn't hardly function because I wasn't, my body wasn't functioning correctly. And then be like, okay, well, when I'm better, maybe we can look at this issue again, okay? And yet they wanted to make a big deal out of it, and it used to really make me angry. And I got to the point where I started not wanting to go to doctors because half the time, due to my sensory issues and other stuff, as well as just how my body functions, I was sensitive to side effects of medication. I have always been sensitive to side effects, and so I try to deal with my illnesses as best I can in natural ways because I tend to have less side effects on natural methods than on synthetics. It's just a fact, and I live with it. Now, I'll go to the doctor to get a pain med if I need it, but I also try to only take them as long as I absolutely need them and get off them as soon as I can. So, moving on. So, the thing about the book, I really encourage people to read it. It has so much awesome information, especially when it comes to the myths of obesity and weight issues and the actual research studies and things that are in it. I went and tried to find some of the same research and the other research on the other side, and there's some really good factual information in here that I think people should read for themselves before they judge. Don't just take some specialist view on this subject and take that as a article, because those specialists have their own agenda. And even Linda Bacon, she's not trying to sell you food or clothing or take this pill or whatever. She might get some money from the book, but I know authors don't make a lot of money from books, unless it's romance novels, because they sell like hotcakes, and they actually do make quite a bit of money in that area once they get going. But that's another story. The first half of the book is debunking the myths and giving you some really good research and some facts about how your body works, or how people's bodies works when it comes to weight and dietary issues and a whole bunch of things. The fact is that whether you read this book or not, you can find out easily that most diets don't really work. Okay, they just don't. And the side effect of dieting is actually a lot of health problems. There is only a small percentage of people in the world who can actually diet and keep weight off. And the percentage is like, I think, less than 5% or something closer to 1 or 2%, something like that. It's really low. And I for sure am not in that percent. I've only tried seriously dieting, like really putting my all, as much as I could into it, maybe 4 or 5 times through my lifetime, and 2 of them was after I had my kids, and then I quickly found Health at Every Size, because I did not have a good response to it, and the second diet actually made my blood pressure go up, and I realized I couldn't do those methods, that the only thing that ever helped me stay somewhat healthy was just better eating of healthier foods, and just getting out there and having some movement. The problem is I've had joint issues for a long time, so swimming was better for me. I could do bicycles some. Stationary bike's probably better than out and about, because I tend to have ankles that twist a lot, and I've had a torn ligament in one of my ankles that has always made my right leg weaker than my left. And I've had knee issues, and I've had these issues since I was younger. But I must say, even though I was always chubby, I was never as heavy as I was now when I was in my younger years. So my joint issues wasn't so much about weight as it was whatever physical weaknesses I had at the time when I was younger. And I always was stronger after I was swimming more, because it really builds up muscle or some kind of strength in your body when you swim a lot. And so, yeah, those kind of things. So yeah, when people try to talk about Health at Every Size and they haven't really read what it's about, and they have all these assumptions that it's like, oh yeah, let people be lazy and just try to treat them better, and no, there's a lot more to this than that. And it talks about eating whole foods, and we're talking more like natural foods and not processed foods. It talks about having the occasional snack or treat is not bad, but you want to do, listen to your hunger signals. It talks about, it led me to researching into intuitive eating and mindful eating. It talks about body movement for pleasure and just to help get your body with good circulation so that you can be healthier, and not so much a focus on weight loss. It could be a side effect if you're very inactive, to lose a bit of weight when you get more active, but that is not the goal. The goal is to feel healthier. And that is really what I wanted from the beginning, was to have better energy to deal with my kids, to feel healthier and have better function of my body, and not so much a focus on whether I was going to lose weight or not. And now that I'm older, I'm just reached the beginning of my 40s, I have to really consider these things. I have children, I guess they're 9 and 10, so they're still young, but they're getting, reaching those older years now. And I guess they're in their child prime, if you could put it that way. And we have a lot of food issues in the house, but it has more to do with texture and other things. My kids are lactose sensitive and things like that. So I have a lot of other issues to deal with when it comes to food with my boys. And I've already gotten a few times just from the media that they're experiencing, including stuff on YouTube, of them saying, Mommy, we love you, but don't you think you might feel better if you were thinner? And I go, well, if I was thinner, I wouldn't be so cuddly to hug and snuggle with, and I wouldn't be so warm, and you would have more of a, maybe I'd be a little bit more bony and pointy like your brother, because my older boy has a bit angly. He's not super thin. It's just I think he's been going through growth spurts, and so sometimes he pokes me with his elbows, or his shoulder feels a little bit bony because he's smaller than me for sure. He's only 10. And so these issues are issues, okay? So I go, don't you like me cuddly and loving the way I am? And they're like, yeah, you smell good too, because, you know, I probably take a little bit better care of my hygiene than my boys do, being boys. And they're starting to become aware of those issues. And I said, you know, when you go through puberty, you have to be very careful about how you smell, because boys tend to smell, even have scents that are even heavier than girls. Not that girls don't smell, they just are very aware of it and take care of it a bit more. And so they've been starting to want to know about those kind of things. So I'm trying to get into that. So yeah, so health at every size. I really, Linda Bacon, the lady in the documentary, Embrace. She's one of the speakers in the documentary. I think in the later half of the documentary, she shows up in it, and she's awesome. And I've been following her ever since I got this book back in 2010, and she's really helped me make a lot of peace with things. So another issue I wanted to talk about was going back to the Oracle side of things, as alternative media to interact with, or ways to help us have positive things to interact with, to help us through our own evolution of healing when it comes to body image and love and self-acceptance and respect. So I know I talked about finding oracles with human body types that we could find some, like, yeah, that person's like me, you know, and that kind of thing. But what about finding some oracles and tarot that don't have any human forms in them at all, so that we can take out the body image reflection type thing, not a judgy factor out of the whole interaction of oracles and divination? One of them that I found, as you know, I have many animal oracles and I have some tarot. One of them is my Mystical Cats Tarot. There are no human figures in this deck. And what I love most about it is that all the cats are posed in natural ways. They're not put in humanoid body forms with cat heads and paws and tails. These are more natural cat forms in different situations, but in ways that you definitely can feel the emotion and meanings of the cards in the meaning of the system of, in this case, tarot. And I love that about this deck. There's all different kinds of breeds, all different ages, all different body types. If you want to think of different kinds of cats, like Maine Coon versus short hair, Siamese versus um, Persians or whatever, tabbies, whatnot, total black cats versus calicos, that kind of thing. But not, you know, heavy versus tiny humanoid animal figures. It's well documented and observed within our culture that many people love watching YouTube videos and other shows with cats in them. It causes a relaxation and happy and response within our bodies. So I really think interacting with animal-based decks, be they Oracle Tarot, can be a positive thing for us, and take out that whole judging or competitiveness or any of that kind of thing that we might find ourselves doing subconsciously when we interact with our oracles and tarot. Okay. I know some people are can be uncomfortable with overly voluptuous or sexual imagery in oracles or tarot, and some people really enjoy it. So I'm not judging either way. I'm just saying, if you are the type who are trying to find body types and shapes that are similar to you and you're not really having as much of that in your decks, then maybe seek out the animal-based decks, or such as the cats, or my Druid Animal Oracle, or the Sacred World Oracle, which has many different types of animals, including a dragon or two, or mythical beasts. There's decks like our crystal decks. There's many different kinds out there. This does mix of color imagery with the stones themselves or crystals themselves, and then some key terms that we can interact with and really get some feelings with. And other symbolized decks, like the runes and the oham. Not even decks, you can get the throwing stones or runes or wooden pieces and things like that. So there's other ways to get divination, oracles, tarot, what have you, with imagery that you don't have that instant comparative urge of her body type versus your body type, or his body type versus your body type, blah, blah, blah. Because they are oracles and in their own way fantasy in some of them, or reflections of different aspects of reality, and sometimes they don't represent all aspects that we experience. Taking that out of the tone and having stones or animals or plants or dragons or what have you can be another way to bypass those kind of judging, interruptive thoughts. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there, bring that to you. I mean, one of my favorite decks that I have is the Messenger Oracle. What I like about it, there is a few people in here, there is, but a good portion of this deck is animals and dragons. I really love the shamanistic ones, which has a really great mixture of all of that. Animals, dragons, plants, birds, and then some humanistic forms, but not so focused on, say, sexual forms or really thin or heavy or any of that. It's just awesome shamanistic imagery, and some of these I have right here. Oh, I love this one with the 3 different birds. There is my eldest son, I'm not sure if this is going to focus, but my eldest son, when I was having him, I dreamed of a white raven or crow, and so his middle name is Raven, and I also had a dream about his first name. And my younger son, it was a little different. I wanted to give him some kind of animal or mythological beast name, so he got Griffin. And then I gave him a more common name as his middle name, and I loved that. And it's mostly because in my own names, my mom's name that she wanted to give me, I felt would have matched me better, and I'm not going to say what it is because but my dad, I love him to death, but he gave me a name that was very Spanish, on how he said. He grew up in San Diego, where there was a lot of Spanish Mexican speakers, that kind of thing. And see, there are some humans in this deck, but they're not really focused on body types here, I don't think, as heavily. It's more about the bird and the being that matches up with the bird. But then there's some awesome, here's the Lady and the Lord. All right, so there's really awesome imagery here, but then you get it past all these humanoid stuff. I had it kind of separated. The dragons are gorgeous. A deck just with her dragons would be so awesome. Come on. There we go. Let's focus in. There we go. So here's another one. Come on. Yeah. So yeah, she has some really awesome dragons. Just such cool imagery. So when I don't really want to focus too much on the human figure and stuff like that, I would really encourage looking for decks that have more animal forms, because the way I read, I associate personality types with different animal behavior and animal forms and things like that. There can be some crossover, say like with your Lenormands, when you get cards like the bear, that can hint at someone of either a heavier responsibility or someone of a heavier body type, versus the rider, which is someone maybe more youthful and athletic. But you're not really seeing a type, because youthful and athletic can mean many different things in body types as well. So I just want to put that out there, maybe give you a few thoughts, and I hope that if you had any thoughts or some ideas of oracles or tarot that you think would be helpful for others, that they could find some either imagery they could work with, or find some similarity to, like that one scene in the Embrace where the lady says, "That woman's like me. She's like me." And if you watch it, you'll see the scene I mean. I don't want to give it all away. You can find the similar feelings within certain oracles as well. Please share if you've found some like that, and or just your thoughts, your ideas, or whatever. Feel free to comment if you like this or not, or whatever. And of course, feel free to subscribe. So thank you so much, and have a great week. And I will see you all later. Peace out. Bye bye.